The city sparkled like a jewelry box someone had dropped from the sky. Millions of lights danced on tall buildings that stretched up and up until they almost touched the clouds. Cars with shiny paint jobs rolled through streets, where everything cost more money than most people would see in their whole lives. This was a place where rich people lived in the clouds and poor people hoped for crumbs. But tonight, the city held its breath. Mr. Chun was the richest man anyone had ever seen. He owned buildings and businesses and boats, and probably a few things that hadn't even been invented yet. When he walked into a room, everyone stopped talking. When he smiled, people felt like they'd won a prize. When he frowned, grown men wanted to hide under their beds. Tonight, Mr. Chun wore a suit that probably cost more than a house. His watch caught the light and threw sparkles across the walls like tiny stars. He had just finished a big meeting at the Grand Pearl Hotel, the fanciest building in the whole city. Outside, hundreds of people waited behind velvet ropes just to catch a glimpse of him. Among all those people stood a girl named Amara. Amara was 12 years old, with dark brown skin that glowed like warm honey in the streetlights. Her hair was pulled back in neat braids that her grandmother had done that morning. She wore her best dress, the blue one with yellow flowers, because Grandma had said, if you're going to see the city at night, you should look your best. Amara wasn't there because she loved rich people or fancy hotels. She was there because of words. You see, Amara had a gift, not the kind you unwrap on your birthday, but the kind that lives inside you like a secret superpower. Amara could speak 7 languages: English, French, Spanish, Mandarin Chinese, Arabic, Swahili, and Portuguese. Her brain soaked up words like a sponge soaks up water. Most people didn't notice Amara. She was quiet. She was young. She was black in a city where people like her were often invisible. But Amara noticed everything. She listened when others talked. She heard things people thought were secret. Tonight, Grandma had brought her to see the lights and the excitement. The world is big, Amara, Grandma always said, but it gets smaller when you can understand what people are saying. Amara stood near the front of the crowd, her heart beating fast with excitement. She'd never seen so many cameras, so many bodyguards, so many people dressed like they were going to meet a king. Then the doors opened. Mr. Chin stepped out, and the crowd went wild. Cameras flashed like lightning. People shouted his name. Security guards in black suits formed a wall around him, moving like one giant creature with many arms and legs. Amara watched, fascinated. This was what power looked like. This was what it meant to be important. But something felt wrong. Have you ever walked into a room and just known something bad was about to happen? Like the air itself was trying to warn you? That's what Amara felt right then. A cold finger traced down her spine. Her stomach tightened into a small, hard knot. 6 security guards surrounded Mr. Chun. They all looked the same, tall, strong, wearing sunglasses even though it was nighttime. One guard spoke into his wrist, probably talking into a radio. Another scanned the crowd with eyes that saw everything and nothing at the same time. A long black car waited at the curb. It was so shiny Amara could see the reflections of all the lights dancing on its surface. The car looked expensive and powerful, just like the man who was about to get inside. That's when Amara heard it. 2 guards stood close to her, just on the other side of the velvet rope. They were speaking quietly, their heads bent together like they were sharing a secret. But they weren't speaking English. They were speaking Mandarin Chinese. Everything is ready, one guard said in Chinese. His voice was low and careful. The other guard nodded. When he gets in the car, it will be over. 3 minutes, maybe 4. Amara's blood turned to ice water. She understood every word. The device is under the driver's seat. The first guard continued. As soon as the car starts moving, the weight will trigger it. No one will survive. Amara's hands started shaking. Her mouth went dry. She looked at the guards' faces, trying to see if they were joking, but their expressions were as cold as stone. These men were supposed to protect Mr. Chun. They wore his uniform. They took his money. But they were planning to kill him. The crowd pushed forward. Everyone wanted to get closer. Amara felt like she was drowning in a sea of bodies. Her heart hammered, so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Mr. Chin walked toward the car. He was smiling, waving at the crowd. He had no idea that death waited for him inside that beautiful black vehicle. The first guard opened the car door. The inside glowed with soft leather seats and tiny lights. It looked safe. It looked comfortable. It looked like a trap. Amara's mind raced. What should she do? If she stayed quiet, Mr. Chen would die. But if she spoke up, would anyone believe her? She was just a kid, just a girl, just someone no one noticed. But Grandma's voice echoed in her head. Your gift is not just for you, Amara. It's for the world. Use it. The guards continued their whispered conversation. After the explosion, we leave. The others will create confusion. By the time anyone realizes what happened, we'll be gone. Mr. Chen took one step toward the car, then another. Amara's legs felt like jelly. Her voice felt stuck in her throat, like a bird trapped in a cage. But she couldn't stay silent, not when someone's life was at stake. She pushed through the velvet rope. Security guards immediately turned toward her, their hands moving to stop her. Wait! Amara shouted. Her voice cracked, but it was loud enough. Mr. Chen, don't get in that car. Everything stopped. The crowd went silent. The cameras stopped flashing. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Mr. Chen turned and looked directly at Amara. His eyes were dark and sharp, like a hawk spotting a mouse in a field. The guards who had been whispering in Chinese stared at her with faces that had turned pale. And Amara realized that the most dangerous moment of her life had just begun. Time moved like honey dripping from a spoon, slow, thick, and heavy. Every eye in the crowd fixed on Amara. She felt like a tiny mouse standing in front of 1,000 cats. Her knees shook, her hands trembled, but she couldn't take back her words now, even if she wanted to. Mr. Chen stood frozen, one hand on the car door. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes studied Amara like she was a puzzle he needed to solve. What did you say? His voice was calm, but it carried power like thunder carries rain. Amara swallowed hard. Her mouth felt full of sand. Please, sir, don't get in the car. It's not safe. The head of security, a massive man with a scar across his cheek, stepped forward. His face was angry. Get this child out of here. Now. But Mr. Chen raised one hand, and everyone stopped moving. That's how powerful he was. One gesture could freeze the world. Let her speak, Mr. Chen said. Amara's heart pounded so hard she could hear in her ears. She looked at the two guards who had been whispering in Chinese. Their faces had gone pale, like someone had drained all the blood out of them. One guard's hand moved slowly toward his jacket. That made Amara even more afraid. But fear can either freeze you or push you forward. Grandma always said, courage isn't the absence of fear, baby. It's being scared and doing the right thing anyway. Those two guards, Amara pointed with a shaking finger. They were talking in Chinese. They said there's something under the driver's seat. They said when the car starts moving, it will explode. The words tumbled out fast, like water bursting through a broken dam. The crowd gasped. Cameras started flashing again, faster than before. News reporters pushed forward, shouting questions. The head of security's face changed from angry to alert. That's a serious accusation, child. Do you understand what you're saying? I understand Chinese, Amara said, her voice stronger now. I heard them, every word. The two guards looked at each other. For just a second, so fast you might miss it if you blinked, their eyes met. Then they started backing away slowly. She's lying, one guard said in English, but his voice cracked like thin ice. She's just a kid looking for attention. Mr. Chen's eyes narrowed. He was a man who had built an empire by reading people the way most people read books. He looked at Amara, then at the guards, then at the car. Open the hood, Mr. Chen commanded. Check under the seats. Check everything. Sir, this is ridiculous, the second guard protested. We're your protection team. We would never. Do it. Now. Mr. Chen's voice was steel wrapped in silk. The head of security motioned to other guards, the ones who looked confused and worried, not guilty. They moved toward the car, while everyone watched. The two suspicious guards tried to slip backward into the crowd. But Mr. Chen noticed. Stop them, he said quietly. For loyal guards grabbed the two who had been whispering. They didn't go easily. One pulled free and tried to run, but he didn't get far. In seconds, both were on the ground, their hands held behind their backs. Amara watched, her heart still racing. Had she been right? What if she'd been wrong? What if she'd misunderstood their Chinese words? She'd be in so much trouble. Grandma would be so embarrassed. The head of security reached the car. He opened the driver's door carefully, like he was opening a present that might contain a snake. He looked under the seat. His face went white. "Everyone back," he shouted. "Back away from the vehicle. Now!" The crowd scattered like seeds in the wind. People screamed. Parents grabbed their children. Camera crews ran while still filming. In seconds, the area around the car was empty except for Mr. Chun, Amara, and the security team. The head of security pulled out his phone and made a call. "I need the bomb squad. Grand Pearl Hotel. Immediately." Bomb. The word hung in the air like a dark cloud. Amara felt dizzy. Her legs wobbled. She had been right. There really was a bomb in the car. If Mr. Chun had gotten inside, if the car had started moving, she didn't want to think about it. Mr. Chun walked toward Amara slowly. She thought about running, but her feet felt glued to the ground. When he reached her, he knelt down so his eyes were level with hers. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Amara," she whispered. "Amara," he repeated, like he was tasting the word. "You speak Chinese?" She nodded, and 6 other languages. Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, maybe, or respect. "How old are you?" 12, sir." He was quiet for a moment, just looking at her. Then he said something that made Amara's eyes fill with tears. "You saved my life tonight. Amara, I will never forget that." Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Police cars and bomb squad vans raced toward the hotel. Red and blue lights painted everything in flashing colors. The head of security dragged the 2 captured guards forward. Their faces showed everything now. Anger, fear, and defeat all mixed together. "Why?" Mr. Chin stood up and faced them. "I paid you well. I trusted you." One guard spat on the ground. "Your enemies paid us better." The other guard said nothing, but his eyes burned with hate. Mr. Chen's face hardened. "You would have killed innocent people too. The driver. Anyone near the car when it exploded. That was not our concern," the first guard said coldly. Amara felt sick. These men didn't care about right or wrong. They only cared about money. The police arrived and took the 2 guards away. The bomb squad carefully examined the car. They found wires, electronics, and enough explosive material to destroy the entire front of the hotel. A bomb squad officer confirmed what everyone feared. It was set to trigger when the car moved. Weight-sensitive detonator. Very sophisticated. If anyone had gotten in and started driving, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Mr. Chin watched them work, his face unreadable. Then he turned back to Amara. "Where's your family?" "My grandmother," Amara said. "She's over there." She pointed to where Grandma stood behind the police line, her face full of worry and pride all at once. Mr. Chin walked over to Grandma. Amara followed, her legs still shaky. "Your granddaughter is extraordinary," Mr. Chin told Grandma. "She has a gift, and she used it to save lives tonight." Grandma pulled Amara close. "She's always been special. I just hope she didn't put herself in danger. She was very brave," Mr. Chin said, "and I would like to repay that bravery, if you'll allow me." Before Grandma could answer, reporters swarmed around them, shouting questions. Who is she? How did she know? What happens next? The head of security created a protective circle around Amara, Grandma, and Mr. Chun. "No comments tonight," he announced. "Please give them space." But the damage was done. The story was already spreading across the city like wildfire. A young black girl had saved the richest man in the city by understanding a language most people ignored. News helicopters circled overhead. Social media exploded with posts and videos. In living rooms across the city, families watched the breaking news. A hero emerges at the Grand Pearl Hotel tonight. Amara held Grandma's hand tight. Everything felt too big, too fast, too much. Mr. Chin leaned down one more time. I owe you my life. Amara, tomorrow we'll talk about how I can properly thank you. But tonight, go home. Rest. You've done something remarkable. As the police escorted Amara and Grandma to a car that would take them home safely, Amara looked back at the shiny black car. It sat there under bright lights, surrounded by people in protective gear, carefully dismantling the death it held inside. She had done it. She had spoken up. She had saved a life. And nothing in her world would ever be the same again. Morning came too quickly. Amara woke up to sunlight streaming through her bedroom window and the sound of Grandma's voice downstairs. For a moment, she thought last night had been a dream, but then she saw her blue dress with yellow flowers hanging on the chair, and she remembered everything. The whispers in Chinese, the bomb, Mr. Chen's grateful eyes. Amara, come down, baby. You need to see this. Amara rubbed her eyes and walked downstairs. Grandma sat at the kitchen table with her phone, tablet, and the television all showing the same thing, Amara's face. Young hero saves millionaire's life, read one headline. 12-year-old's language skills stop assassination, said another. The girl who heard danger proclaimed a third. Videos from last night had gone viral. Millions of people had watched Amara shout her warning. Thousands had shared the story. Hundreds of news stations wanted interviews. Amara's phone, which Grandma usually only let her use for homework, buzzed constantly with friend requests, messages, and notifications. Is this real? Amara whispered. Grandma smiled, but her eyes were serious. It's real, baby. The whole world knows what you did. A knock on the door made them both jump. Grandma looked through the peephole and gasped. Amara, it's him. Mr. Chin stood on their doorstep, wearing a simple suit, not the fancy one from last night. Behind him stood the head of security and two other guards, different guards, ones with kind faces. Grandma opened the door. Mr. Chun, we weren't expecting. I apologize for coming unannounced, Mr. Chin said with a small bow. But I couldn't wait. May I come in? They sat in the small living room that suddenly felt too tiny for such an important person. Mr. Chin looked around at the modest furniture, the family photos on the walls, the books stacked everywhere because Amara loved to read. You have a beautiful home, he said, and Amara could tell he meant it. Thank you, Grandma said. Can I get you some tea? That would be lovely. While Grandma made tea, Mr. Chin turned to Amara. How are you feeling? Confused, Amara admitted, and a little scared. Scared? Of what? What if those guards have friends? What if someone comes after me for stopping them? Mr. Chen's face grew serious. That's a wise concern, which is why I've arranged protection for you and your grandmother. Until the police finish their investigation and arrest everyone involved, you'll have security watching over you. We can't afford, Grandma started to say as she brought the tea. It's not about money, Mr. Chen interrupted gently. It's about honor. Amara saved my life. The least I can do is ensure her safety. He reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. This is for Amara's education. A full scholarship to any school she chooses, here or abroad. With her gift for languages, the world should be her classroom. Grandma's hand shook as she took the envelope. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Mr. Chun, this is too much. It's not enough, he said simply, but it's a start. He looked at Amara again. I also want to tell you what happened to those guards. They confessed everything. They were hired by my business rival, a man who wanted to take over my company. But because of you, the police arrested not just the guards, but everyone involved in the plot. 15 people total. They'll spend many years in prison. Amara felt a weight lift from her chest. So it's really over? It's over. You're safe. And you taught me something important. What's that? I thought I knew who to trust. I hired the best security money could buy. I ran background checks. I did everything right, or so I believed. But I forgot that loyalty can't be bought. It has to be earned. And sometimes the people we overlook are the ones who save us. He paused, his eyes distant. For years, I only paid attention to people who were rich, powerful, or famous. But you were none of those things, and you were the most important person in that crowd. I won't make that mistake again. Over the next few weeks, Amara's life transformed like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. Schools called offering special programs for gifted students. Language institutes wanted her to give talks. News shows invited her for interviews. Her story spread across the internet faster than lightning. But Amara stayed humble. She remembered what Grandma always said, "Don't let praise go to your head or criticism go to your heart." She did agree to one interview, though, a big one that millions of people would see. The interviewer asked her the question everyone wanted to know. "Amara, what made you speak up? You're just a kid. You could have stayed quiet. You could have thought, it's not my problem. Why did you risk everything to warn Mr. Chun?" Amara thought carefully before answering. "Because I could help. Because staying silent when someone's in danger isn't safe. It's just being scared. And because Grandma taught me that if you have a gift, you're supposed to use it to make the world better, not just yourself richer." The interviewer smiled. "That's beautiful. What do you want to say to the people watching?" Amara looked directly at the camera. "Don't ignore the quiet people. Don't overlook the kids. Don't assume someone can't help just because they're young or different. And learn new languages. You never know when understanding someone else's words might save a life." She paused and added with a shy smile, "And if you like this story and want to hear more amazing true stories about everyday heroes, please share, and subscribe to support these kinds of messages spreading around the world." The video got 20 million views in 3 days. Mr. Chen kept his promise. He changed how he ran his business. He hired people from different backgrounds, not just people who look like him. He started a foundation to teach languages to kids who couldn't afford lessons. He called it the Amara Foundation. The city itself changed too. People started paying attention to the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, the young ones. They realized that heroes don't always wear capes or have muscles or come from rich families. Sometimes heroes are 12-year-old girls in blue dresses with yellow flowers. 6 months later, Amara stood on a stage at a big ceremony. The mayor gave her a medal for bravery. Photographers snapped pictures. People applauded until their hands hurt. But the moment Amara treasured most came after the ceremony. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, walked up to her shyly. "Are you Amara?" the girl whispered. "I am. I want to be like you. I want to learn languages and help people." Amara knelt down to the girl's level, just like Mr. Chen had done for her that night. "What's your name?" "Sophia." "Well, Sophia, you can be anything you want to be. Start learning one new word every day. Listen to people, even when they think no one's paying attention. And remember, courage isn't about being big or strong. It's about doing the right thing even when you're scared." Sophia's eyes sparkled. "I'll remember. Thank you, Amara." As the little girl ran back to her parents, Amara felt something warm spread through her chest. This was what mattered, not the medal or the fame or the scholarship, though those were wonderful. What mattered was inspiring someone else to be brave. That night, Amara and Grandma sat on their porch, watching the city lights twinkle like earthbound stars. "Are you happy, baby?" Grandma asked. Amara thought about it. Her life was so different now. She had opportunities she'd never dreamed of. She had security guards, though they stayed far enough away to give her space. She had people recognizing her on the street. She had a future bright enough to need sunglasses. But more than all of that, she had used her gift for good. She had saved a life. She had shown the world that listening matters, that languages matter, that young people matter. "I'm happy," Amara said, "but also kind of scared. What if I can't live up to what people expect now?" Grandma squeezed her hand. "You don't have to live up to anyone's expectations but your own. You already did something incredible. Everything else is just extra frosting on the cake." "I like frosting," Amara said with a grin. "I know you do, baby. I know you do." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the night paint the sky in shades of purple and gold. Somewhere out there, Mr. Chung was probably in one of those tall buildings, running his empire with new wisdom. Somewhere out there, People were sharing Amara's story, inspiring others to speak up and speak out. And somewhere out there, a child was learning their first word in a new language, not knowing that one day, those words might save a life. The city sparkled just like it had on that fateful night. But now, when Amara looked at those lights, she saw something different. She saw possibility. She saw hope. She saw a world where courage could outshine wealth, where truth could defeat betrayal, where one voice, even a young, quiet, overlooked voice, could change everything. "Grandma," Amara said softly. "Yes, baby? Thank you for teaching me languages. Thank you for bringing me to the city that night. Thank you for telling me to use my gifts." Grandma's eyes filled with proud tears. Thank you for being brave enough to use them. The lesson of that night lived on, spreading like ripples in a pond. Courage resists silence. Truth, once spoken, travels farther than wealth can reach. And a single warning, given at the right moment, can alter destinies, even in the glitter of the night. The story of Amara, the girl who heard danger and refused to stay silent, became more than just news. It became a legend, a reminder, a call to action. Listen carefully. Speak bravely. Stand up for what's right, even when your knees shake and your voice trembles. Because in the end, that's what heroes do. And heroes can be anyone, even 12-year-old girls who understand the language of courage. If this story touched your heart, inspired you, or made you think differently about the power of young people, please like, share, and subscribe to spread these messages of courage and hope to others who need to hear them. Your support helps these important stories reach more hearts around the world.